Hello and welcome to the Marketing Mix. I am back after the summer break and I'm raring to go, and I'm really excited about my first guest. This is such a brilliant story, like the story of how the business was founded, and just incredible how Matt and his co-founders have taken email marketing and really made it their own. So I have Matt Dyson with me today, Rockit. Matt, I'm just going to ask you to tell us a little bit about how you started your business and a bit about Rockit itself.
Yeah, oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for asking me along. And so basically, Rockit, if for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's a device that the mums and dads can fit onto their pushchair, and it gently rocks the pushchair for them. Um, I can't take full credit for coming up with that idea. That was my brother-in-law, Nick, who is a very clever chap. He's got a PhD in vibration and acoustics, which I didn't even know was a thing. And he basically had a daughter, Abby, probably about 10 years ago. She just refused to sleep in her pushchair or pram unless it was being wheeled along. And in the night, in desperation, one night, Nick got up and went to his shed, took an old printer apart, and made a prototype that basically he strapped to Abby's pushchair, and the very next day went out for a walk with her, stopped at a coffee shop, turned this device on, and it rocked Abby's pushchair and kept her asleep for the length of his coffee break, which was the first time that had ever happened. And I witnessed her screaming the house down many a time. Nick's my brother-in-law, so we often sort of used to meet up for family events. And it's actually at one of those family events that Nick took me to one side because my background was teaching product design, and he knew that I was a bit disillusioned with teaching. Showed me his invention and said, "What do you think?" And I was literally blown away by how something so small could rock a big pushchair with a heavy baby in. And we did some googling, couldn't find anything out there that was similar in any way. And so I literally gave my job up at teaching that very next month, worked part time at school, and spent the rest of my time turning Nick's invention into a marketable product, which we launched in 2017. We've since
Wow.
gone on to sell, I think, well over 500,000 rockets around the world. We sell into
Oh my gosh.
45 countries. Yeah, it's just we initially ordered, I think it was 5,000 from the factory, and just gave all
Yeah.
our life savings to get to that point, and thought, oh, if we
Yeah.
could sell those, it would be great. But yeah, it's really sort of taken the nursery world by storm. So we've been absolutely delighted.
I mean, those kinds of things, where you're solving a problem that you're having yourself. I just find that they work so well, because like every other parent will have had that issue, but like your brother-in-law went and did something about it. And gosh, imagine getting up overnight and just going, right, I'm going to create a product.
I know he's
Which
a
is a
very
bit,
clever chap, and it was incredible how it was just a small motor with some weights attached with gaffer tape to the spindle, and but it was so effective, and we just knew we were onto something at that point.
yeah,
So yeah, it was very lucky that he
incredible.
actually
And
mentioned it to me.
yeah, for sure. Well, I guess really his sort of design, that background, and your background in product design really were a bit of a match made in heaven. So
Mm.
I can see why he did come to you. um, so let's talk a little bit about your marketing. So I know you've got quite successful social channels, and particularly TikTok. So what made you want to try email marketing?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had been very successful with both Instagram and more recently TikTok. But we'd seen Instagram dropping off, the engagement on Instagram dropping off quite a bit since we started. TikTok being more engaged, the viewers on there, but we still felt that we weren't having those sort of proper conversations with our customers. Responding to comments on TikToks and things like that is all well and good, but we wanted to really sort of build a more robust relationship with our customers. And because there's only two of us, there's only three of us now working in the business in the UK. We'd always, I'd been very focused on social media, but knew that I really should be doing something with email marketing, but just hadn't really had the energy and the time to really get stuck into it. And we sort of looked at, I started doing research, because up until this point, I taught myself everything in terms of marketing, and I wanted to do this. We've always done things very much on a budget. We've always tried to keep the business as lean as possible, even though we're now very successful. We still have that mentality of trying to create organic growth. This seemed like an ideal opportunity, but I'd always put it on the back burner. Always sort of thought, oh, it's a lot to learn if I'm going to learn how to do this properly. So we really knew we should do it to get that relationship with our customers. We wanted to start a newsletter, which I like to think cleverly called the snooze letter, which has sort of news and advice, and we wanted to raise awareness of our sleep blog as well on our website, and also offer sort of discounts and offers to our customers. So we knew that email marketing was the way to do that effectively, but it was just getting started, which was the hard bit. And just coupled with that, the other reason why we really wanted to sort of get started on the email marketing was to build a good list, a database, so that we could, because we design all our products ourselves, actually having customers answer market research about new product ideas is really important to us. And in the past, we've had to pay for that, an agency to actually find those people. But now we're getting this list together, which is growing rapidly. We're able to do some of that new product development, market research very, very quickly ourselves.
Amazing. So in terms of sort of teaching yourself about email marketing, what kinds of things did you try to like?
So initially it was sort of Googling it and watching YouTube videos. Everything seemed quite complicated. Because I'm the founder, I'm the designer or the co-designer, I'm doing lots of other roles. It was finding that time to actually get started, and everything looked very complicated. I think sitting in front of YouTube videos and trying to learn that way for me would have taken too long. I needed a bit more focus. We did look at sort of going to an agency to help us, but in the past we've done stuff ourselves, and we know our brand inside out, our tone of voice and everything. We've worked with agencies in other areas, and sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. So I was a bit sort of loath to go down that route. I just had this vague recollection that I'd met you on a Small Business Saturday webinar, and remembered that you did email marketing, and just decided to check your website out. And it just seemed like the perfect fit, because you were offering sort of short courses to actually train founders up. I thought, why not give that a go and see where it takes me? And it's been brilliant. Really, I've got so much out of it.
So, you just told me why you decided to work with me. I think we met. I saw you first, I think, when you entered the pitch. I think I came to that event because that's the first time I've heard of Rockit. I was like, isn't that amazing? Because you always go to these things and you discover products that you never imagined that could exist. I think that's the first time I became aware of you guys, and I was like, that's an amazing product.
Yeah. That was before we launched the product, back in 2017.
It was a long time ago. I think it must have been, because I hadn't been running my business for that long, and in my previous life, when I worked at Constant Contact, we had sponsored the pitch competition as a company, so I'd already known about it. And I thought, I'll go along, because there was, I think it was one in. It was in London. There was a regional.
Yes, in Barbican.
Final in London. So I think that's where I first became aware of you. But so as Matt mentioned, we've worked together, and we had the sum total of 3 coaching calls, which sounds a little bit short. But can you explain to me or explain to us like why they made such a difference to you, and like
Yeah, I think,
what did you
as I said,
focus
I
on?
was sort of time poor, and really needed somebody to motivate me. I think it's like being the ex-teacher in me, knowing that if you have a student and you set some homework and you expect to get it in, you have to work to actually do that. So, I mean, that was the real sort of motivation. Obviously, the end game of having a good email marketing strategy was important as well. But that what you did, which I thought was great, was that you sent out a questionnaire first of all, just to establish my level of expertise, which was zero at that point, to ask what the aims and the objectives that I wanted to fulfill, and but then also to sort of dig a bit deeper into the business. Were we doing e-commerce? What had we thought about newsletters, and what was the purpose really of doing the email marketing and such like. So you built up an idea of exactly what I wanted, so that when we came to the first session, we sort of hit the ground running. And it was
Yeah.
very much a sort of staggered approach. So, at first it was introducing me to various sort of platforms that we could use. I opted for one called Email Octopus, which was a free platform. You can use their paid version, but the free version's superb, really easy to get to grips with, had most of the features that we need. It was just the reporting and the stats only last, I think, a month on each campaign or
Okay.
each that you run. So you could pay to get those. So I set that up. We're still using the free version of that, which is
Yeah.
suiting our needs at the moment. And then you very much helped us then to look at how we would get sign-ups. That was the starting point.
So
So
let's just talk about that sign up process, because um, when we had, I think we had a gap of maybe a couple of weeks between the first session and the second session, and you came back to the second session. You went, I got over 100 sign-ups in a week. Like, explain to us how did you make that happen?
yeah, so what we did was we created a landing page with a sign-up form, and we were getting a decent number of hits on our website. So obviously a really successful way of translating those and getting people to sign up was to have a pop-up on our website. So we designed a pop-up. We actually had two pop-ups, one designed for mobile use, which popped up after 5 seconds, I think, and then the desktop version, which popped up on basically if anyone tried to leave the homepage. And that form was really important, and we wanted to make sure we had a real hook to get people to sign up. I think just having sign up to our email list, wasn't enough, obviously. And you gave advice about
Mm.
incentives and how we could incentivize people to sign up. So we created a 10% off voucher that could be used on our website, and a direct link from the sign up landing page to our site with that discount applied. So we tried to make it as that transition from signing up to getting the discount as quick as possible.
Mhm. Mhm.
So alongside the pop-ups, I started posting about it on our social media. We've got over 30,000 Instagram followers and 20,000 TikTok at the moment. So I did some Instagram posts and TikToks saying that there were discounts available if you sign up, and we saw a nice little surge of sign-ups on those days. And that then led to the automated. I don't know if you want to then for me to talk about the automated sort of sign up
Yeah,
process. What
yeah, for sure.
the customers get once they've signed up. So
Mhm.
what happens when a customer signs up? We devised a sort of an automated sign up process that delivers 3 times emails. So as soon as somebody signs up, they get an email introducing us, and we very much, everything we do, we try and brand, both in terms of its look, but also its tone of voice. to make sure that it's instantly recognizable as Rockit. So if anyone wants to go and have a look at our website, that would be fantastic. I think I was going to link it at the end of the call in the comments. And if you look at our website, you'll see the look and the feel, and we wanted to make sure that the newsletter had the similar look and feel. So we introduce ourselves as the co-founders. We talk about how often you're likely to get an email from us, because I think that transparency was really important. That's something that really sort of taught me, that making sure that you explain what is going to happen, that you won't be bombarded. You'll get 3 emails this week, but then after that it's only 1 a month. And I think that has reflected in the fact that we've had very few unsubscribes on our lists. I think it's a 2%, running at 2%, which is very low, I think. And so those 3 automated timed messages went out, and each one gave a little bit more information about the kind of things we'd be doing, introducing the team, introducing the products, and the fact that we've got this blog that helps tired parents with their child's sleep, that kind of thing. And then once that week's process had occurred, I then transfer those subscribers over to the actual list, the newsletter list, and they then just get the monthly newsletter, which again I try and keep as short and punchy as possible. So it tends to be, if you imagine it's an A4 piece of paper, it's an A4 piece of paper. You don't have to scroll through lots and lots of information, and I try and keep it as visual as possible, and as keep the word count down, and keep it sort of light and fun.
Yeah. And do you want to just, if you're able to, can you share some of the results that you've had with this newsletter?
So I'll just have a quick look. So to date, I think we've run this for 5 months, and it sort of looks after itself, apart from my monthly newsletter. So just to go back to that, this is something that I think Minal suggested as well, is that you actually set reminders. So on my Outlook calendar, I've got reminders to actually draft the newsletter a week before I send it. So I tend to send it the middle of the month. So I'm drafting next week, and I'll be sending it the week after. Also, I've been experimenting with times of day to send those emails out, because through Email Octopus you can schedule those. So I've been trying sort of first thing in the morning, later in the evening. Late at night is when most of our customers are actually purchasing our product, because they can't sleep or their baby's not sleeping. So we're sort of looking at that and trying to analyse, when the most effective time to post is. But sorry, I've sort of gone off track in terms of the actual results. We've got 1,600 subscribers in the first 5 months. We've had nearly 900 orders that have come directly from that sign up discount. So we can measure how many people have actually used that voucher, because it's on the back end of our WooCommerce site, and we've had so over 57% of people that have signed up have actually purchased on our website using the discount, which is incredible. And that's generated well over £20,000 worth of revenue just on those sales. So we've been really pleased with how it's going. The open rate has been at 40%, which I don't know, is that good? Is that a good open rate? 40%?
40% is really good open rate, I would say. I was talking to someone yesterday that I was having a session with, and I said, I think average across the board, open rates are around about 25%. So 40% is really great. I think that's a really good result. Oh, there I am. Really good result, I think. I guess a lot of businesses focus on the opens and the clicks, but you've really been able to translate this and take it a step further and say, right, we've had this many orders, and realistically, 57% of those orders from our website have come directly from those emails, which I think is amazing. because that little bit at the end is what quite a lot of small businesses forget to track and measure. So the fact that you've been able to put a number on that really shows you that this is working. And I'd be interested, it's not something that I said I would ask you, but I'd be interested to understand, if you have that information, how that stacks up against orders from social media. Say if you do a post on social media with some kind of offer, does that have a similar sort of rate of purchase?
Yeah, we haven't really done those sorts of offers on our social media.
Okay.
We have to be very aware of our retail customers. You know, we're selling
Mhm.
into retail, so it would be difficult to do that, and it's quite difficult. I mean, we haven't got a TikTok shop as yet, so that's
Uh-huh.
something we're looking at doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, in terms of, as you said, I mean, we do get referrals from Instagram via our Linktree page.
Hmm.
So we can track the number of visitors we get from social media, but we
Hmm.
haven't got the sort of stats to compare that with quite a few of the people that sign up to our email list, of course, come via LinkedIn or TikTok
Yeah.
when we do a post.
Yeah.
So they're actually signing in via the Linktree link that we've set up there. So yeah, I haven't got that sort of data, but you know, I think that, as I said right at the top, you know, having that direct contact with customers, and you
Hmm.
know, is really building trust. It's all very well doing you know, a fun video on TikTok, but to build that trust, you know, them getting a regular newsletter that's got, you know, information about us as people as well as the
Yeah.
business and products, I think has really helped.
And have you had any responses to this newsletter? Have you had any feedback on what people think about it?
Yeah, that's interesting. No, we haven't really. I mean, I tend to put in, you know, if we're talking about a blog post that we've just done,
Yeah.
we tend to promote that in this newsletter, and I always put in there, you know, if you have any suggestions for a blog post you'd like to see, then you know, please respond to this email and things like that. But we haven't had any of those responses. So that's something that, yeah,
Mm.
I want to look at and actually, you know, try and foster that sort of backwards and forwards of
Yeah.
communication a bit more. But yeah, as such, I
Yeah.
mean, it's such early days for us. You know, we haven't really started hooking up the email addresses of the people who actually place orders on our site to our
Hmm.
email list as well. We're looking into the sort of legalities, the GDPR aspect of that, but we wanted to get this newsletter up and the sign up process up and running first of
Yeah.
all, and then we'll start looking at, you know, how we can integrate the actual list of customers, and link that to our list as well, create a separate list.
And so, just thinking back on, I mean, like I said, we had 3 sessions together, and realistically, you did all the work. We talked
I don't
about
know about
stuff,
that.
but you went away and you went away and did stuff, which is basically that's how you judge. For me, that's how I judge whether my sessions with people are successful or not. Is if they go away and do the stuff and then it starts working. Because at the end of the day, I can't do it for you. You have to put in the effort. But you went away and did the stuff, and it's started working. If we hadn't have had those 3 sessions, where do you think you would have been now?
The honest answer to that, I think, is I'd still not be doing email marketing at all, or we'd be paying a lot of money to an agency, I think, to run it for us. And yeah, so I think, you know, that those sessions, although we only had 3, really did sort of massively kickstart things. You know, even in terms of sort of drafting the first couple of newsletters, you know, being able to
Mhm.
send those drafts to you to review and to give feedback. You gave some really good feedback on those in terms of the hook, um, uh, the title of the email, to get people to actually open it, the content and keeping that consistent, and the tone of voice, all of those things. So you know, it was great. Just gave me the confidence to know that, yeah, I've started off on a good footing. The foundations are there, and over time, we're really going to sort of push it and build that list more rapidly. Start promoting it much more on social media as well.
Yeah, amazing. Oh God, this makes me so happy. Because we hadn't really completely caught up with what had happened in between the last session and now. So hearing this now is just it just feels very satisfying to know that
good. Yeah.
we were very you took everything that you learned and applied it, and that's all I can hope for. So yeah.
Really no, great. Thank you very much. I really appreciated those sessions. It was great.
It's a brilliant story, brilliant. And you're right, I am going to, if you want to check out Rockit, if you know any parents who have children who don't sleep, I've just popped Rockit's website link into the comments, and go check them out. It's a really brilliant product. I think you've got a couple of other things as well.
Yes, we've got a couple of other products, and we're constantly developing more. And yeah, I mean, obviously, anyone that thinks it make a good gift or need one themselves, if you sign up for this newsletter, you will see a pop up on our website. You'll be able to get the discount as well. Which,
yep, don't forget.
Always promoting.
Absolutely, always promote your newsletter wherever. You don't know where your customers are going to come from. I will pop a couple of other links into the chat after we finish, but in a couple of weeks' time, it's going to be me on my own on the Marketing Mix, and I'm going to specifically talk about how coaches can use email marketing to make their business thrive. So if you want to join me, there is a link there in the comments to set yourself a reminder. But all it leaves me to say right now is, Matt Dyson, I'm so proud of you. You took everything that we discussed and you actually made it better than I thought you might ever do, which is not surprising when I listen to how the business got started. So really, really well done, and I'm excited to see, like, maybe this time next year I'll catch up with you and see where the email list is.
Yeah, that would be great,
and how you're getting on. This will be available to watch on Catch Up. Oh, you're welcome. This will be available to watch on Catch Up on YouTube and on LinkedIn. But I will be back in 2 weeks' time, and I will see you all then. Take care and bye.